Anime lovers from across the 4 states are coming together to help out a local nonprofit. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with the details.
Plus, Pridefest returns to Joplin, and today's hot weather wasn't stopping 4-staters from getting out for a fun-filled day of celebrating the local LGBTQ+ community.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Mike Mahoney. An incident occurred following the Webb City Joplin football game Friday night in Webb City. In this video from Twitter, members of the Joplin football team can be seen running down the field with the Eagle flag while being chased by members of the Webb City football team. After the group gets together, a referee throws a flag and the group is separated. At this time, we have not been able to confirm the events that immediately followed what you see in the video. However, representatives from both districts did provide some information. Justin Crawford with the Joplin School District told us on a phone call that after the game, emotions were high and a couple of Joplin players got carried away in their celebration. Joplin Schools wants to ensure that their athletes display good sportsmanship and will follow school policies to handle the situation. He adds that both districts have communicated with each other and are working things out. Amanda Robbins with Webb City also replied to our request for information, telling us, quote, "We are really still investigating the events from last night, taking inventory of district property and determining what events actually occurred as opposed to rumor." She added the district should have a better understanding of the entire situation on Monday. Justin Crawford added that after speaking with administrators with the district, to their knowledge, no Joplin students were injured following the game. We have also received response from the Webb City Police Department. Webb City Police Chief Donald Melton tells us the department was dispatched to 3 fights in the parking lot of the high school football stadium after the game. Chief Melton says officers working security at the game were able to de-escalate these situations. However, the chief added that they are investigating an alleged assault that occurred off campus in the area of the high school over a parking complaint. Chief Melton adds they will be contacting the district on Monday to see if there are any other incidents they have not yet been made aware of. A one-vehicle crash in Cherokee County has claimed the life of an Alabama man. The Kansas Highway Patrol says just after 11 Friday morning, a 79-year-old Cloney Smith of Coker, Alabama was driving east on Baghdad Road when his car left the roadway. The rear end of the vehicle struck a tree, causing the car to spin 180 degrees and crash into another tree. All right, let's switch it up and talk about weather. Let's talk to meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick.
Had a pretty calm day overall, Mike, but again, like you said earlier, we did push things a little bit hot once again today after starting at 73. Not too terrible, though. We did top out at 93 degrees this afternoon. Seeing a completely dry scan on the radar network while I was keeping an eye on just a few showers in our southern counties to start the evening out, but those have pretty much fallen apart. Up north, though, you can see our better shot for storms staying well to the north, but that's indicating our next cold front that'll come knocking on the door tomorrow. Before it comes in, though, we'll stay quiet overnight. I think mostly clear skies with lows dropping up to 73. Then as the front works in tomorrow afternoon, we'll see a chance for better scatter storms with highs this time in the upper 80s. We'll see how long this dip in temperatures will stick around here in just a bit, Mike.
All right, cold front. That is music to my ears. Thank you, Nick. Anime and cosplay lovers gathered for the first ever Jomo Con in Joplin today. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us what it's all about and how it's helping out local nonprofits.
Lovers of anime, cosplay, and other nerdy content gathered virtually on Saturday. The first ever Jomo Con was held at Pennington Station in Joplin.
It's a stream for people to just log in and enjoy some nerdy content. Like we talk about anime, talk about ramen, we talk about cosplay. And in the process, we're raising funds for a charity that we've partnered with.
Panelists led presentations on a variety of topics surrounding anime, which were live streamed on Twitch.
In my panel, we watch one of the most terrible anime movies I've ever seen. And we just kind of do a Mystery Science Theater 3000-esque riffing of that movie, making comments on what's going on and just kind of the idiosyncrasies that are going on the actual film. So it's just a good time, and hopefully folks are enjoying that too.
Proceeds from the live streamed event went towards Hearts and Hammers in Joplin.
And in this case, we have a common goal of trying to make or raise money for the Hearts and Hammers to help have people in lower income housing help fix their houses up.
Ultimately, event organizers hope this live stream added to the anime-loving community in Joplin and the surrounding area.
I'm convinced that Joplin is full of otakus and nerds, or whatever you want to call them, just people who are really passionate about this kind of content we're doing. There's a lot of other events around here that have already been doing stuff like this for these people, and we just wanted to join that community add to it.
JomoCon organizers hope to continue this event and support a new charity every year. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Jomo Pridefest returned to Joplin for another fun-filled celebration of the local LGBTQ+ community. The event featured a ton of activities and attractions, including vendors, a pride march, drag shows, magic and comedy shows, a costume contest, and more. Today's hot, late summer weather didn't stop hundreds of four-staters from coming out for a fun-filled day with Pride-themed activities. And the fun's not over yet. Pridefest continues tomorrow with a drag brunch featuring Miss Gay America and Miss Gay Missouri at the Blackthorn Pizzeria. Other Sunday highlights will include a Pride in the Park celebration at Landreth Park, a Pride pet costume contest, and even an outro dance party in the park. Sounds like a good time. It is now time to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we pay tribute to Donald Miller of Carthage, Missouri. Miller served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army and he fought in World War II. He earned a Bronze Star and many other honors. Thank you, sir, for your service and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus,
Ida is on a collision course with parts of the Gulf Coast, expected to strengthen into a Category 4 hurricane before landfall Sunday. I'm Casey Stiegel in Baton Rouge. We'll show you the preps coming up next.
Most spots kept dry today, certainly on the hot side again, but thankfully not as hot as it's been throughout much of this week where we were stuck with highs in the mid-90s. But nonetheless, we had mostly sunny skies to start today, and despite partly sunny skies over Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, we have kept things hot once again. But looking back over the month so far, it's again worth noting that we started out with many days below normal, so a lot of blue on the calendar. But much of this week, 94, 95, even 96 as early as Thursday. But we started to drop off to 94 yesterday, and certainly nice to see that slight cooling trend continue even today, even though it probably wasn't much. Any steps downward that we can take, we'll definitely take it, of course. Again, 94 yesterday, dropping out to 73 this morning before we topped out around 93. We're at the top of the 2 o'clock hour this afternoon. But with this heat and some humidity still, we did see that result in a few isolated showers, maybe a random storm again, as advertised in our southern counties. And they did not have a chance of holding on long once we got deeper into the evening. In fact, I'm not seeing anything out there right now. So everyone's looking good. Everyone's looking quiet, just like Joplin from our vantage point at 7th and Range Line. Still a bit warm though, sure, at 80 degrees, but dew points in the upper 60s, only making it feel like 83. Much more tolerable for any outdoor plans late tonight. Upper 70s to lower 80s, that's where we all sit at the top of the hour, with the humidity still making it feel like the mid 80s for some, but we'll all drop back to 73 tonight while I'm keeping an eye on a couple of things. First and foremost, Ida. This is growing into a formidable hurricane. So far still a Category 2, but it's going to work over more warm ocean waters or Gulf waters here. Ripe fuel for this to strengthen into a Category 4 before it makes landfall at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And it's unfortunate too, because not only will this be a major hurricane for the Louisiana coast, it will make landfall on the 16th anniversary of Katrina. We all know how horrible that was for the Louisiana coast, so we'll keep a close eye on that. But in terms of us, we don't have too much to worry about Ida, as the worst of that hurricane and eventually storm and depression as it weakens over land stays mainly to the south and east. But we'll still have moisture with this incoming cold front to work with as our jet stream to the north finally starts to sink back on top of the region. That not only will mean a temporary drop in temperatures, which we'll certainly take, but a little uptick in our rain chances, certainly as we get past Sunday morning. I think we're all dry to start the morning out with lows around 73, but that front setting up shop just to the north of the region is close enough to fire off some scattered storms in the afternoon. I don't think anything heavy or severe though, thankfully, but still rain chances I'll keep an eye on. 73 in the morning, 85 by noon, afternoon highs right around 89 degrees. We'll see the rain chances taper off as we go into Sunday night, certainly by Monday morning, but another start near 70. And we'll hold in the upper 80s with another chance for scattered storms since that front still around for Monday. And just within the next couple days alone, in fact, we'll even go through on Tuesday, Most of us between a tenth or half an inch of rain, but if any heavier pockets of rain can set up, maybe some of us getting an inch before that front unfortunately has to jump back to the north once we hit the middle of the week. As long as that front's around though, we'll take highs in the upper 80s tomorrow through Tuesday, but once that front clears out, Mike, we're back in the lower 90s on Wednesday and perhaps mid 90s by next weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. Sandbagging efforts and other preps are underway in Louisiana as the state braces for a possible direct hit from Storm Ida. Fox News' Casey Stiegel has the latest.
Fierce winds and rain from Ida battering Cuba on Friday night, hitting the western part of the island but causing storm surges as far away as Havana. Ida is now strengthening in the Gulf of Mexico, and forecasters put it on a collision course with the Louisiana coast, potentially making landfall as a Category 4 storm with winds of more than 140 miles per hour.
We pre-positioned food, water, generators, and other supplies in the area. Pay attention and be prepared. Have supplies for your household on hand.
In New Orleans, mandatory evacuations have been ordered for all areas not covered by the city's levee system. Everyone else has been encouraged to leave if they're able to do so safely.
Time is not on our side. It's rapidly, it's growing, it's intensifying. If you're going to leave, you need to do that now.
Louisiana is no stranger to hunkering down for hurricanes. Residents who plan on sticking around and riding out the storm are stocking up on gas and groceries while they still can. This father and son filling up their car with as much bottled water as it could hold.
So that if something like Katrina does happen, we don't have any problems.
How many cases do we get?
25. A lot.
If Ida makes landfall on Sunday as projected, it will be 16 years to the day that Hurricane Katrina hits. That's the latest from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
Right after this short break, we've got the latest on today's violence at the Kabul airport. Plus, the Pentagon has released the names of 13 American service members killed in Thursday's suicide attack in Kabul, Afghanistan. Those stories and more are next.
Low prices.
The Pentagon has released the names of the 13 American service members killed in Thursday's suicide attack in Kabul, Afghanistan. Fox News' Doug Lazater has more from Washington.
The Pentagon has now released the complete list of the 13 U.S. service members who were killed in that horrific bomb attack in Afghanistan on Thursday. These are individuals that hail from all over the country, from California to Texas to Massachusetts, and pictures are emerging of some of them. We will start with Maxton Soviak. According to the Wall Street Journal, he was a former high school athlete, and he leaves behind 12 brothers and sisters. Riley McCullum was just 20 years old. He'd recently gotten married. His wife is expecting a baby in just 3 weeks. 20-year-old David Lee Espinoza. His mother told the Wall Street Journal that her son had only been in Afghanistan for a week before he was killed. 20-year-old Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. He grew up in the St. Louis area. His father told a local radio station that he is devastated, of course, by this, and that his son had always wanted to become a Marine. And Kareem Nakui, also just 20 years old. His father, Steve, spoke with Tucker Carlson last night. He said his son had expressed some concerns about this mission.
I'm still in shock. The family is devastated. From what I saw of the airport that they were in, it looked like a turkey chute. Basically, it's funneled into like a single file type entry point.
And again, the Pentagon has now released the full list of those killed in the attack. These are individuals who served in the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Chaos continued outside Kabul's international airport today. Taliban militants were firing gunshots as crowds of desperate people gathered outside the gates of the airport. Many Afghans are so desperate to flee Afghanistan and the Taliban rule that the risk of another terror attack isn't deterring them from approaching the airport just days after a suicide bombing. Thousands of refugees from Afghanistan are being flown to U.S. military bases around the world. They are undergoing a vetting process before being released and moving on to their new lives. Fox News' Greg Palcott has the latest.
Regardless of, or perhaps due to, the horrible explosion we saw in Kabul this past week, evacuations continue here at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. 20,000 have come in, Some 5,000 have left to safer climes.
I actually got to talk to the Marines that are here. They're doing well, and good news is that they were stabilized, and there's a good chunk of them that get to go home. And as far as our operations here, they have remained steady.
Some 100 planes full of Afghan refugees have arrived in Ramstein, some direct from Kabul, others via other bases. All the people vetted, checked out, fed and housed. Some have told us they've been here a week or more. And then they're transferred to specially commissioned commercial U.S. planes to get to the States. We believe at least 2 of those took off today. Take a listen to what some of the folks told us.
I think the country is going in the wrong way. It will not be the same as it was.
My brother, my family, the rest, all people who work in the armies stay over there. Everybody's life is in danger, sir.
They're still trapped, they're still stranded.
It's stranded, sir.
The situation in Afghanistan was too much scary because the Taliban, they didn't allow us to go in office, school, university.
Taliban would not be good for the future of women in Afghanistan.
No.
That's a no from her about a future with the Taliban. We heard more from the Afghans. We heard more from the general, including how being a father made this humanitarian mission so much more meaningful to him. But as we see the terror threats continue to loom in Afghanistan, as that deadline for the U.S. exit looms also in Afghanistan, and as we see fewer flights coming in here and out of here, we get the sense that this is nearing the end of this brutal chapter and maybe the beginning of another. In Landstuhl, Germany, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Right after the break, more and more college students are finding out if they want to attend class on campus, they have got to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. That's headed your way in just 2 short minutes. Delta Airlines says unvaccinated employees will soon have to pay an additional $200 for health insurance, and more employers and insurance companies could soon follow suit. Fox News' Heather Sullivan spoke with a legal analyst who says the higher premiums are well within a company's right.
Delta Airlines says unvaccinated employees in its health care plan will be charged an additional $200 a month starting in November. The CEO says it's to encourage more employees to get vaccinated and help cover hospital bills for employees who catch COVID. Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico says it's within a company's rights.
And so if your actions are causing the company to have to spend more for this benefit, then they can raise the cost to you because you did that in most circumstances.
Exceptions, he says, are if employees have a medical or religious reason not to be vaccinated or a union contract prohibits it. And starting September 30th, Delta Airlines also says unvaccinated workers will not get paid sick leave for COVID.
When someone gets COVID and goes into the hospital for a prolonged period of time, and then you have this group of people that remain unable to come back to work.
Some health insurers are also expected to start charging higher premiums for unvaccinated people, much like charging more for people who smoke.
There's nothing to stop a health insurance company from saying, if you're not going to get vaccinated, and we now know how much it's going to cost us if you go into the hospital.
Likewise, insurers and employers can also reduce premiums as incentives for vaccinated employees, just as they can in wellness programs for losing weight. Missouri State University cuts health insurance premiums $20 a month for vaccinated employees. Tritico says incentives may be easier than mandating vaccines.
That's probably easier than going through the discrimination lawsuits of firing people.
Students who want to continue their college careers on campus at hundreds of colleges and universities, they are now required to get a coronavirus vaccination to attend. Fox News' Stephen Goen has reactions from one major university in the Midwest.
For years, college students have needed several vaccinations to come back to school, so the COVID-19 vaccine is kind of just the latest requirement in some places, and colleges are using some pretty strict enforcement to make sure students get their shot.
so excited for a more normal year, but it won't be completely normal. And of course, we're still attempting to navigate the pandemic.
This fall, as college campuses welcome back students in person.
Now I'm having the college experience. Honestly, it feels like this is my freshman year because I'm here now.
Some students will find that college experience could require a COVID-19 vaccine. More than 800 colleges out of thousands in the U.S. are now mandating vaccination. The Ohio State University is one of them.
I think it is a very good idea. The reason that we're allowed to be in person is because we have the vaccine.
While some students support the requirement, others want it to be a choice.
I know some people are kind of like bothered because it's like being pushed upon us, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I was kind of in between.
Across the country, students have even filed lawsuits over vaccine mandates. The Supreme Court has already rejected one such case out of Indiana. Most schools will offer limited exemptions, but enforcement measures are in effect, and they vary. At OSU,
So they won't be able to take classes in person or live in the residence hall or participate in on-campus activities.
and in Connecticut, Quinnipiac University will take away Wi-Fi and charge students a fine, while the University of Virginia has already kicked out nearly 250 students who didn't get vaccinated. Now back here at OSU, 73% of students, faculty, and staff have already been vaccinated, so they're well ahead of their goal of 1 dose by October 15th. In Columbus, Ohio, Stephen Gowen, Fox News.
And we'll be right back with more news. Welcome back to your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Americans are losing confidence in the economy as COVID-19 cases skyrocket. A new survey published by Gallup finds that 60% of respondents feel the economy is getting worse, while 37% think things are getting better. This figure is up from 54% of people who felt negatively about the way the economy was moving last month. The loss of confidence seems to be tied to surges in coronavirus cases, which have hit the markets hard. A popular fitness company has been subpoenaed by the feds in relation to some of its fitness equipment. Peloton has been ordered by the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security to supply documents concerning injuries associated with its Tread Plus treadmill. The Securities and Exchange Commission is also investigating Peloton's public disclosures of injuries associated with its products. Peloton issued a voluntary recall of its Tread and Tread Plus treadmill products in May after the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued an urgent warning after a child was killed and multiple small children and a pet were injured beneath the machines. Well, stay right there. We have got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, a pair of rallies in our nation's capital aim to shine a spotlight on voting rights on the 58th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic March on Washington. That story and more are next. Police in Hawaii killed an armed man on Friday. The incident happened in Honolulu. Police received a call about a distraught man barricading himself in a high-rise apartment building. Law enforcement negotiated with the man for several hours. A SWAT officer then fired a less-than-lethal round at the man, and a struggle ensued. The man reportedly pointed a gun at police, who then fatally shot him. It's not clear why the man was distraught, and he didn't have hostages. No police were injured, and no shooting video exists because SWAT officers do not wear body cameras. A pair of rallies in the nation's capital aim to shine a spotlight on voting rights. On the 58th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic March on Washington, folks are coming together in D.C. to demand protection of voting rights. Civil rights groups organized the event as a way of keeping the focus on the right to vote after restrictions were put in place in several states following the contested 2020 election. Civil rights groups say the new laws are designed to keep voters, mainly people of color and other minorities, away from the polls. Another voting rights rally was held at the Lincoln Memorial, the site of Dr. King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Al.
The time lapse that I've been looking at showed what everybody had to deal with for the most part throughout the course of our Saturday. So let's just dive in Let's break down what happened today. We just saw a lot of passing cloud cover once we got past a nice sunrise from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. That, of course, outside of Seneca, Missouri. And we saw that sunshine result in, surprise, another hot day. But given what we've been through in terms of much of this August, we weren't hot for the entire month. We did have a good stretch of days, 14 in fact, where we had highs below normal. But this week it was all about 94, 95, 96 degrees for much of this week. But then we continued our slight downward trend with our highs today, right around 93. So it was good to see at least 93 or 94 at Joplin Regional yesterday, 73 this morning, and 93 officially the high just on the 2 o'clock hour this afternoon. That bit of heat, along with the lingering humidity, which is no surprise when it comes to August after all, has resulted in some very isolated showers, maybe a random storm at times in our southern counties. But you saw how as they tried to work north, they really had a hard time holding together. So they fizzled apart once we got to the 8 o'clock hour. We're looking pretty good from here on out for the rest of the night. So we'll keep the skies from south of the range line looking clear and pretty okay. Still warm though, I'll give you that for sure. 80 in Joplin, feels like 83 with the dew point sitting at 69 degrees. As far as everyone else outside of the Joplin metro, we're seeing some more upper 70s popping up on the board, but still a good number of us trying to hold on to lower 80s just as we hit the top of the 10 o'clock hour. But there's still enough humidity in some spots that it feels like the mid 80s out there. But again, with the way things are going tonight, we will, if I can say it correctly, drop back to 73 before we head into tomorrow morning. Now, while we have a system to the north to track, which we'll do in a moment, I first want to touch base on Ida once again. This is not just any tropical storm. It is a bona fide Category 2 hurricane. So far with 105 mile per hour sustained winds. We'll get a new advisory on Ida if you want to join us for the latest on that on Channel 7 coming up at 10 o'clock. But the latest that I have doesn't show much since I last showed you this. Poised to make landfall on the Louisiana coast as a Category 4 major hurricane Sunday afternoon around 1 o'clock. And not only to add insult to injury, this would happen on the 16th anniversary of Katrina battering the Gulf Coast back in 2005. So definitely thoughts and prayers and best wishes to everybody down there as conditions worsen as we go through the day tomorrow. But in terms of impacting our weather, we're not expecting much from Ida. The worst of the impacts will stay well to the south and east of the region. That being said, we'll still have enough moisture in play for our next front that fired off some severe weather yesterday well to the north of us. This front is going to tap into that moisture as we head into tomorrow afternoon. And as that front starts to edge nearby, as our stationary make that jet stream aloft starts to sink on top of the region. That is going to result in temperatures dropping off through the overnight down to about 73. We're dry to start the morning out. But as soon as we hit the afternoon, that front parked just to the north will fire off some scattered storms, but nothing too heavy. Certainly not expecting anything severe. 73 in the morning, 85 by noon, highs near 89 degrees. And these are rain chances that'll stick with us as long as that frontal system sticks around up until Tuesday. A tenth of an inch to half an inch on the average, maybe a few spots over an inch if we can get some heavier pockets of rain. But that brief break from the heat and the rain chances won't stick around long, because once this upper low carries Ida to the east, that upper ridge is going to start building back in. So we are going to have the heat ready to roar back in once we hit the middle of the week. Let's go 89 on your Sunday, 88 Monday, 89 Tuesday. So still warm, but at least a brief break from the 90s, Mike, before we had to head back into that territory Wednesday and certainly by next weekend.
All right, sounds like a plan, Nick. And check this out, Nick. Several Metro Detroit freeways are closed following flash flooding from heavy rains. Local meteorologists say about 1 to 3 inches of rain fell across the city Friday, with more expected to hit throughout the weekend. This is what it looked like on some of the city's main freeways. Several cars are stuck underwater after flash flooding took them by surprise. This is the 4th time this has happened in the Detroit area in the last 2 months. The city says they are looking into the issue. Firefighters continue to battle the Caldor wildfires in Northern California. Thick smoke settled into the community as firefighters attempted to create space around cabins in the area while dispersing more flammable materials. The thick smoke made travel difficult, but was actually a good sign of more calm winds to come. Evacuated families continue to check in at an information center, with some relieved to find that they will have homes to return to. The Caldor fire has about 3,200 firefighters fighting it and has burned through 144,000 acres. All right, stay tuned, sports fans, because we'll be right back with Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. And Danny's got a ton of fun stuff headed your way, including the latest on Show Me State softball with an update on the McDonald County Mustangs home opener. That story and more are coming up in just 2 short minutes.
27th.
High school softball in Missouri is underway. The McDonald County Mustangs open up their season at home. McDonald County hosting Quapaw to kick off their season. In the first, Nevaeh Dodson gets it through the gap for a 2-run single. Carly Cooper and Reagan Myrick score. Then, bases loaded for Caitlin Townsend. She rips it into the corner. It stays fair. 2 more runs come across. The Mustangs put up 7 in the first. And Pitt State commit Madeline McCall lets nothing by today. I mean that literally. She tosses a perfect game, 6 innings and 15 strikeouts. Late in the game here, Cooper ends this one early off the back fence for a triple. She scores off the error. The Mustangs win their season opener in shutout fashion, 10-0 over the Wildcats.
Honestly, I didn't even realize it was a perfect game until the end. I was just focused on pitching strikes. This was a great game to start off our season because we started off not so great in our jamboree, but this one we came out and we were ready.
The reigning state champs have waited an extra day to begin their football season. The Lamar Tigers begin their 2nd season under head coach Jared Beshore today. Lamar is hosting Springfield Catholic in their Week 1 matchup. The Tigers dominating the Fighting Irish. They're up 40-0 at half. Preseason action is wrapping up in the NFL this weekend. The Chiefs took the field at Arrowhead for their 3rd and final game on Friday. Kansas City hosted Minnesota. Patrick Mahomes slings it over the top to Tyreek Hill for a 35-yard touchdown to start the scoring. Later in the first, Mahomes, a short pass here to Travis Kelce, who falls into the end zone. Mahomes finishes 8 for 9 with 117 yards. Shane Buechele now for Kansas City, a perfect pass to Marcus Kemp for the score. Then Derek Gore grabs the pass behind the line of scrimmage, and he'll take it 56 yards into the end zone. Chiefs win 28-25. Here's Mahomes' thoughts on the game.
Having those tight ends on the field that can run and can run block and they can catch, and then the offensive line that we've built here and how they've been able to really run the ball, I think it's going to put defenses in some very, very tough positions because they have to either put a lot of big people on the field to stop the run, or they have to find a way to stop those guys like Noah, Blake, Travis, and Jody, who can all catch the ball like a receiver.
In Major League Baseball, Kansas City on the uptick as of late. They are currently in the middle of a 4-game series out in Seattle and coming off a 12-inning win on Friday. Tonight, it's Game 3 of 4. Whit Merrifield takes the 2nd pitch of the game to deep left field. Royals jump out on top early. In the 5th, Salvador Perez adds to the Royals' lead. He's homered in 4 straight tonight. He got his 37th of the season. That's good for 2nd most in the league. Then Kyle Seager lines it to right center. Laying out to make the play is Hunter Dozier. Final inning, Cam Gallagher gets an RBI single. The Royals win 4-2, their 3rd straight off the Mariners. St. Louis also on the road in Pittsburgh, each team with a win in the series so far. Tonight, the Cards offense comes alive. It's 13-0, and Mundo Sosa has 2 triples and 5 RBI. Adam Wainwright pitches 7 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back. As news and images spread of the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, experts say calls to the Veterans Crisis Hotline have risen. Fox News' Austin Westfall is in Charlotte, North Carolina, where a local nonprofit is explaining new concerns over veterans' mental health and how veterans can get help.
Over 800,000 Americans have served in Afghanistan since 2001, and with the fall of the country, it's leaving many with questions.
I can see, how people would struggle with, what was it all for?
Right now, Stephen Cole works for Veterans Bridge Home, a nonprofit that connects veterans to opportunities in Charlotte. But 12 years ago, he was deployed to Kabul, Afghanistan as a U.S. Army public affairs officer.
I did leave a wife and 2 kids alone, and those were years that I can't get back.
Aside from himself, Cole is thinking about the Afghan citizens he worked with daily and the thousands of Americans who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
You think about their families, the people that were left behind, and their friends. So, a lot of emotions.
People are remembering, making sense of their own lived experience.
Army Reserve psychologist Nicole French says these emotions are normal. On August 15th, the day Kabul fell to the Taliban, the Veterans Crisis Hotline received 225 more calls compared to the same day last year, a 15% increase.
I think grief is absolutely coming up.
If veterans are upset about what's happening in Afghanistan, or for any other reason, French says the best thing to do is to reach out and talk to somebody.
Spouse, friend, whether they served or not, I think it's healthy to talk things through with somebody that you trust.
In reaction to U.S. service members being killed in an explosion outside of the Kabul airport on Thursday, Cole said he was feeling emotions of sadness and frustration. He says if veterans are feeling upset, they should reach out for help. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. In Charlotte, Austin Westfall, Fox News.
We are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are taking a trip to Chile, where folks rescued an injured sea turtle and are nursing it back to health. That story and more are coming up in just 2 quick minutes. Welcome back. Sea life experts in Chile are nursing an injured sea turtle back to health after it was rescued from a beach. Beachgoers in Antofagasta alerted authorities when they spotted the tortoise known as an olive Ridley sea turtle because of its olive coloring. It was transported to the Antofagasta University Rescue Center for treatment. The male turtle had a number of injuries which made it difficult for him to move around. Authorities say once he's recovered, the turtle will be released back into the sea. Experts say the olive Ridley sea turtle is the smallest of the tortoises. They measure up to 27 inches and weigh about 88 pounds. The International Union for Conservation of Nature classifies them as vulnerable. The TSA unveils this year's winner for Cutest Canine Security Dog. The award goes to Alona, a 4-year-old golden retriever that works at the McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas. Alona is highly skilled and trained to detect explosives. She was one of 4 finalists in the 3-day nationwide social media contest. As part of her big win, she will appear on the cover girl. She'll appear as the cover girl on the 2022 TSA Canine calendar. Way to go, Alona. And finally, the San Diego Zoo is celebrating a new addition to the family. Meet the zoo's newest southern white rhino calf. This adorable female calf was born last Sunday to first-time mom Kianga and dad Jay Gregory. Zoo wildlife specialists say the calf is healthy and nursing well. She is reportedly very adventurous and being well cared for by her mom and zoo caregivers. Where'd dad go? The calf is expected to be named at a later date. Love going to the zoo with my mom. Love seeing stuff like that. All right, well, thanks so much for spending your Saturday with us. We'll see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night. Stay safe out there.